what do you actually like about your life? What is it you do not like about your life? Like, where is it you want to go? Is it like you go out there and you have the feeling like you're like in a movie because everybody is happy or whatsoever?
Yeah, today we would like to talk about the biggest lie out there, right?
One of the biggest or even the biggest, yes.
Yeah, what is this big lie?
I don't know. You tell me.
I tell you.
Wait, why not?
So the biggest or one of the biggest lies out there, which to be honest, we get instilled already somehow at a very young age. And that goes on and basically is eradicated in our minds even as adults, when actually we should do the exact opposite of what this lie is telling us. So the biggest lie out there is that it's not a good idea to do business with, as mentioned, it really starts at a young age, right? When it's about learning or performance or, basically growing in life and developing kind of a business mentality or a work-related mentality, we generally don't work together and don't work with friends at all.
Why do you think that is that way?
That is a very good question. I think, generally, thinking about how I also picked up this rule, the tagline is always the same. Basically, hey, gonna, fight and getting and at the end it's gonna break the friendship, possibly to do business together. And this might be the case, but at the same time, the risks in doing business with a friend are the same as doing business with somebody you don't know, right?
Is it the same?
It's the same, and I would say it's even greater, because if you look, drill down into what the risks are, they're basically almost always driven by different values that business partners might have, which can be the case for friends, but also for, people you don't know at all. And problems of communications where, partners grow apart and don't understand each other and then don't align on where a company should go. Instead, even, scared maybe to be harsh on the friend regarding business topics. And that obviously is long-term for a business. The kind of people in charge don't talk openly to each other. And maybe that is something that in a friendship context happens more frequently.
I think it's just, if you really narrow it down, because at the end, it's all just labels again, friendship and whatever that might be. I think this misconception, which is kind of like worldwide accepted in a certain way, of not combining your life with your work. It's like you have to work to have a life. It's not really understood that you only have a life and work is maybe within of your life, a part of it to create the life you want to live. But it's not like two separated things where you believe that work is going to bring you think you want to be, Yes, I have my life with friends, family, and so on. And I have my life on work. And that's why I do not ask somebody in my friend environment to join me in my business environment, which might be correct if you really separate those two worlds, but that doesn't lead to fulfillment, because then you, in a certain way, you one side do not know the struggle you have on the other side, and the other side do not know how you are on a personal level. So it's like you have an imbalance in both of those worlds, basically based on the time and energy you invest in each of those worlds. So you might be more work focused, or you might be more family focused, but you kind of you do not understand that it should be something where you first decide who you want to be surrounded with, and then analyze, okay, what are our skills, what are our resources, what are our goals, where do we want to go, what do we want to achieve, each of us individually, and then together decide how to delegate different kind of tasks and responsibilities along the group of people, so that they then together can they can use their time more efficiently by solving bigger problems for others, while others solving bigger problems for them. We do not have those. We can create a better momentum than if we try to do everything alone. That's my perspective on it.
Yeah, very interesting perspective, even broader than how I saw it. And obviously, very interesting, building on the first part, you said that your work colleagues, for example, don't know the struggles you have at home and vice versa. That's such a powerful aspect actually, right? Because you are then caught in two worlds which both don't fully understand you as an individual, obviously, and you talk about it for sure, but it's a different thing talking about it.
You need to live it, you need to experience
versus living it, right? Yeah. You're basically two people in the end. For everybody it's different, but for sure, if I think about me,
you try to please too many people. You do not take the time for yourself to slow down a little bit and redefine, like, what do you actually like about your life? What is it you do not like about your life? Like, where is it you want to go? Like, what are the paths that lead you there? And what are the things you need to step by step implement into your life routines in a certain way so you can reach the goals you set your mind to?
Yeah, interesting. A phrase that really stuck to me and how I thought about life, which my former coach told me, is basically sometimes in life, it was a very difficult situation and I really was unhappy with a lot of things. And she said, like, look, why don't you see the way ahead of yourself like Frischnee, like when it snows and there is powder snow and it's like there is not one print and there is not one beaten path, just free to choose whatever kind of life and dream and whatever on a white canvas, basically. And that is powerful. And I think sometimes people might benefit from taking that approach. And
if you really just, like, I took 6 months, and that's really a long time. Probably, I'm not sure if you really need that long, but maybe you do. I don't know. I took
different for everybody.
I took 6 months to really just reflect and set like the, not even super detailed, but like the direction as detailed as I could define it based on 6 months of reflection in a certain way. To really like allow yourself for 6 months just to go with the flow and follow your thoughts and just like study the things that you come to your mind and that you now find interesting based on whatever certain experience it might be. And then to go through all of those processes and learn from it.
Yeah, and honestly, for example, the concept of gap year, right? I would specifically relate to the year kind of after high school and before studies or something. Or after basically university or studies and before starting to work. It always fascinated me. And me coming from a traditional background and everything, my parents, when I heard about this concept, they were like, yeah, basically you lose your life then, kind of, you're already an Aussteiger because you go 1 year traveling Southeast Asia and like, what's going on with you? What's wrong? Then again, reflecting on you lets you understand yourself better, right? Yeah, quite fascinating how society, right, pushes you in a certain direction at an age where you don't really know who you are. How can you know what's best for you or where you want to be in the future? And yeah, I really remember for me it was like bam, 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 quick, go, and no time to really reflect. Now I think step by step, some things are changing, right? I guess because the understanding of modern parents is changing. But yeah, I would say still for my generation or me, it wasn't so obvious, to go somewhere and find yourself. We're just pre-stamped and then...
Yeah, that's the thing. We need distance. It's the environment, and the environment, sometimes people think it's just your room at home and stuff, but it's everything. It's like, what happens if you go out your door? Like, what kind of energy is there? Is it like you go out there and you have the feeling like you're like in a movie because everybody is happy or whatsoever? It's like, what's the experience you have? Or do you go out there and you actually feel the fear of not being safe? Or do you go out there and you have a long way to go or whatever? I don't know. So really, like, the environment is so important because it really shapes our direction in a certain way. So only if you really find a way for yourself to silence your surroundings and just go with yourself and figure out like what are the thoughts that you actually currently have in your mind and get rid of like getting all those distractions from the outside, like, no, this information is important. No, this information is important. No, this information is important. But then really like to cut off that and make sure that you just really listen to the information you receive if you have no distractions from the outside. And that, yeah, that can be a simple place, but you need to dedicate it for it so that you're unconsciously, basically, you're going to connect a certain feeling, a certain energy with space that can help you to do that.
Yeah, just a thought popped to my mind. So I was last year at Colors of Love. It's a festival which takes place in Thailand every year. And at some point we had a workshop, and then there were people from the whole world and like New York and like big cities. The initial basically topic of discussion was, okay, how do you find your inner balance and kind of don't you lose yourself depending on the environment? And then I think a girl from New York was asking, okay, I can see you here on these tropical islands, right? With a totally different vibe and energy overall. But how can I, find my happy bubble and my mental space in a really busy city like New York? Yeah, that really shows, right? The environment makes up, I don't know how much.
Physical, mentally, and digital environment. Like there are different kinds, like different forms of environments. And they all play together to shape your life experience in a certain way.
It's a bit like
each environment is really important because it supports the other environment to be more efficient. So just need to start working on the different parts.
And I thought it's a bit like, when you use AI, you give the prompts, so you make the whole world of the AI. And of course, it's interpreting the prompt in his own way, but you define the reality based on the prompt. And a little bit is like our environment, right? We are really defined by the environment. And then we can react differently to it, but the environment is really our input 24/7 that we get. It's like God is prompting to us.
If you watch television all the time, then your television takes part of your environment. It's like, where is your focus along the day? If you have 24 hours, let's say you sleep for 8, 16 hours left. Those 16 hours which you are like physically awake, really like awake. Like where do you really do what you do? On a conscious level, knowing that what you do is actually takes you further to where you actually want to get. So this 99% of the people do not even think about or consider. And those who try and understand that is actually the way to go, struggle with certain things such as self-management, communication, branding, not compromise. They want to find a solution that helps them to not compromise on who they are and how they, like what values they represent for the money also. But in the same time, they see like everyone like running so fast, but they like, no, I cannot do that kind of like marketing strategy or this and this and that. And they may also don't want to do all the things in the same time, because at the end, what you want to do, you want to live your life, you want to enjoy, and you want to make it as valuable as possible to others, so that everything you do in a certain way serves yourself on the first level, but then is basically your time was so well organized, living life, that along the way you can use all the new knowledge, the new skills to then really bring value again to others. And with modern technology, AI specifically, like you can automate like so much stuff, huh? You know better than me.
Yeah.
It's like, it's insane.
We are also received the confirmation this morning. We are now in a Discord group called the AI Solopreneur. Shout out to Ola. He is the founder of it, and it's really interesting. I just had a brief look this morning, and it's based on his newsletter, the AI Solopreneur, which I discovered a few days ago. And I knew him through Twitter, but now, we're connected there as well. And it's all really focused on AI. So to share with them some knowledge and maybe find, somebody who can join the network.
Yeah, endless opportunities. And everything comes down to communication with yourself, and by that, communication with others. Without you being able to get rid of the distraction, to start communicating with yourself, to figure out like where you are, where you want to be, just get an overview again about your status quo, like what does matter today. Like many people get so lost in so many different kind of, memories. They live that again and again and again, and they just like reprogram themselves, like from being sad for one day to then being like sad for really, really long, because they cannot let go of what happened in the past.
Yeah, letting go is so important. It cleans your brain and opens up energy for new thoughts. And
it's like with a room, you don't clean it up, and then it gets more messy and more messy and more messy. And then when it gets more messy, we tend to like take everything and put it below the bed. So it looks clean, but it's not really clean. It's just a question of time till it will like spread out, and we're going to have like less and less like movement freedom in this room than we had before. And it's the same with our brain. Like we consume so many information which we cannot even like work with anymore. So our brain is like so much like overloaded, or how we would say like we feel overwhelmed. And by that we cannot think clear anymore. Like we eat every day. Like our body is always busy. Like, okay, more food and more chocolate and this and this and this. It's like we don't give like we run so fast, forgetting that our body is actually not made for processing so much information in so many ways. When you understand that, it's like it makes things much more easy to implement it into your life.
So thank you for tuning in. See you soon. And as you always know, never try.